through the gaps on the frequency band, sorry, on the Behringer FBQ 2496. I did lose a little bit of concentration. Whilst, I was listening to some music and concentration, count. I lost count, concentration, and count. And it was like watching paint dry. It was kind of depressing because going through each frequency band, though there are gaps, these are a bit of a frequency gaps. But if this could be modified, something to do with maybe the design of the chip and how find a way round it, or maybe to add something onto it, where then, say, for example, 20,000? Oh no, that's 20 hertz, and that could be programmed, and then you go up to the next part of the frequency, because when you observe it on the RTA, the frequency, it's going to be tiny variables of change. It's difficult with the room where the subs are located. Where those are located and where any else are most typically in a home. It's firstly going to arrive on the floor, secondly against the wall, and thirdly against the ceiling. If they were placed a little bit middle height, then they'll be equally rivaling at the floor, the ceiling, and at first position, I would guess, depending on the calculation. And then second position will obviously be against the wall, and then the third back out here. And that all happens instantly. Literally, when you turn that sine wave on, it's woomph. It's whoosh. It's everywhere. It goes everywhere. Spreads out in the room, especially if it's high frequencies, and where you hear them and where you don't hear them because of standing waves and so on. Blah blah blah. Black sheep. But anyway, FBQs. Going through that, there are gaps. But I counted roughly up to about just a fraction. I did add on a few numbers. It is a fraction over 600 PEQ filters, and that is a lot. That's a lot. But that's not even, when compared to this, going through every single sine wave tone, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 digits there. There's probably 6 or 7. I wouldn't be too surprised. Maybe like on the frequency counter on my for my CB radio, which is a 7-digit frequency readout. So here, it's like there's only 3 digits. So there's going to be gaps in the frequency. They're going to be gaps, or kind of like black holes, where you can't dial in on that frequency. But yeah, it could be, or Behringer get their act together and make something that literally tackles this amount, because every one of those, as it's going down, gradually going down and getting near to 600, and then it's gradually counting down and so on. Those are all parts of the issues that are with a speaker. So when a microphone is placed near to a speaker, be it wet behind the screen, not behind a projection screen, that speaker frequency response is going to be crooked. No if, no but, no debate. There's no vote. It's going to be completely and utterly crooked. It doesn't follow say if you do the frequency response of the amplifier, it looks like that. It looks great. If you measure it then through a passive crossover, say on a speaker, say if a passive, you measure it electronically, so you actually connect the wiring to the crossover on the passive crossover, and do a frequency sweep, and then look at how it looks. Obviously do several frequency sweep passes, so you disconnect, or you only connect onto the base output, and then the mid-range output, and then the high frequency output, and then the whole thing. So you can look at the how it's presented, and then you can see, like, okay, that's how that should look. Okay, now put a microphone near those speaker drivers. One by one, of course, the bass would have to be disconnected, the mid-range have to be disconnected, and then do a frequency sweep on the height on the tweeter to where it rolls off approximately at, and then move the microphone's position, disconnect the tweeter, do a frequency sweep on the mid-range, and then go on to the bass, and then look at how crooked the frequency response is. You know, it's going to be within plus and minuses, but ideally you want it down really tight tolerance, and then yeah, it probably sound better theoretically. See, it's still counting down. Crikey, yeah, I could, you know, crikey. That will take quite a while until it gets down to down into the infrasonic. You see how many filters, you can see how, and they see that's only up to the high frequencies. How many bands? You need over 20,100, I think. Over 20,100 PEQ. So going down literally into the, so that's going up, that's 20,000, so it's a lot. Because obviously if you get a speaker spot on, like, you know, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 38. Alright, maybe 20,000 and 38. maybe I was adding on a few more bands going down into the other part of the infrasonic, which I believe there is a kind of parallel universe to it. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Maybe add a few of those bands on and apply them onto the and then just, because you can go up a little bit more in high frequency, but there's nothing there to really hear. Musical instruments, they're not going to do anything unless it's some G major synthesized science fiction musical sound effect played up, but it's only going to entertain. It's only going to entertain a dog and a cat and a pet bat on the ceiling. That's all it's going to entertain. We can see it, we can look at it, but we can't hear it. It's the same with astronomy. We can observe it, but we can't touch it, much less land on it, because it's well past our lifetime. We wouldn't reach it. It's impossible. You might as well send a probe, and then the probe goes out of contact over so many years. You lose contact of it, depending on the power source, mind you, because Voyager 1, 2, they go silent in the next few years. That's it. You wouldn't be able to send any TX or receive any RX, nothing. That's it, they'd be silent. They may just still remotely, or I don't know, even if they got enough to, no, thruster fuel, I don't think they'd be able to do anything. That's it, they'd be completely silent, cold, until some alien species comes across it. That's if they do. Don't forget those probes are moving at about 1 at 37 or 1 at 38,000 miles an hour. They're going to be not easy to capture, if you know what I mean, because you've got to decelerate. Otherwise, or you've got to catch up with it, match the speed, and then come up with something, and then gradually capture, and then decelerate, pull it back using the thrusters on the ship without wrecking and pulling the other spacecraft apart. It's not easy. Anyway, so yeah, there's no point really going up above 20,000. I mean, at the best, we may only hear or pick up easily maybe 16,000 kilohertz. Going up very extremes, the speaker driver, the amplifier, and the way the frequency response has got to be addressed, because it's got to have an elevation. If it's flat, you can completely forget about it. You could observe it, but you ain't gonna notice it. If it's elevated and and that's got to be done very carefully. And like I say, the amplifier's got to be able to handle it without distorting or adding on harmonics. It takes a lot of power, just as it would be the opposite when going down into infrasonic. It takes a little bit more power to perceive some of those frequencies, but some of those frequencies may only be harmonics or maybe fundamental, but even if they are, they got to be reproduced or played back in a way where it's not exaggerated. Even though movies and THX cinemas, they completely exaggerate, because we don't feel bass kicking in our chest and all that like you get in the THX cinema, or like I get here. That doesn't happen in real life. Only certain sounds or certain events will do that. So yeah, there's a lot of bands there. And if you haven't got a PEQ filters to handle literally every single one of those sine wave tones there, all these auto EQs are completely immiscible. They're irrelevant. They're no use to me. I can't use them. I can't use art direct on that storm, because the B chain here is complex, because I got additional processing. If I want to do my own 5-screen matrix, I can do it here. If I want to use the 5-screen matrix on there, I can use that. If it's got native left center, right center on an Atmos track, I can use it. If it hasn't got a native left center, right center on an Atmos track, and you can't even use this to even apply it through Dolby DSU or even DTS Neural X, it just won't allow, and therefore I could do it there, boom, and it's done. Now, speaker balances are all different here on the DCXs at the moment. Otherwise the music's there playing in the left center, right center, and there it's on the left and right. Still on the left and right. I don't think there's anything filtering into the a little bit's filtering into, but it's not. It needs another signal on top of it to make that happen. Anyway, yeah, so yeah, look at how many bands that is. Gosh, that's like watching paint dry. It is like watching paint dry. And it really is, with all these altos and all Diracs, and everyone's giving it all the thumbs up and all that. Oh, Christ's sake. And my eyes are just rolling, because it's completely useless. Like I say, I need it so it could be applied on the outboard, say a 32 channel module, and it could be applied on the output, so it will go to the DCX. Of course, I would then only use the DCX to add crossover slopes for the speakers, and then you got to put a microphone up to say, or bring that speaker, say, in the middle of the room. You can't say really do it over there and there and there and there and there. and then put a microphone near, because that sine wave or that pink noise is literally going to instantly hit that sidewall, return back, even though it's close up to the speaker. I think even if it was done the opposite way, of I could pull the screen out a little bit and get behind it and put some microphones, just stuff them, put them through the portholes into the bass cabs over the 5 screen, and then play the pink noise and see what it looks like. Obviously, the microphone's inside the cabinet, so it's going to, yeah, I'm not inside that cabinet. We aren't inside that cabinet. It would sound like, maybe like very boomy, distorted. Anyway, I'll catch up on that later. So just this for now. So there's quite a lot of frequency band now.